Okay, so multi-store model. Hopefully able to apply the AO1, so have some understanding of what it actually shows us in regard to studies and things like that. And the main bits you're going to look at is just a quick evaluation, a few evaluation points, looking at supporting research and the research that's maybe not supported it, look at its limitations as well. Okay, this is all AO3. Okay, studies show that short-term and long-term memory are qualitatively different. What that is saying is, to you, short-term and long-term memory, probably for as long as you've heard those terms, have been shown to be different, which is fine. But that has validity basically because of these studies we can show. So we did the one in the lesson looking at the primacy and recency effect, show that there are different types of memory. So lots of support for the existence of different stores. If somebody came to you and said, no, the memory is all just one store, you could turn around and say, well, actually, studies have looked and found that there are clearly different stores, short-term and long-term memory. Badly found we mix words up. It sounds familiar when using STM, you know about that. Acoustically similar, we get muddled. Badly found that we mix words up with similar meanings in long-term memory, so we found those differences as well. Supports multi-store model view that STM and LTM are different. Supports coding capacity duration. Okay. One of the main parts of short-term memory is that there is one single unit of short-term memory. As we'll find when we compare it to a different model next week, that there are, it seems that there's more to short-term memory than just one single block. Right? Studies with people suffering from amnesia show this cannot be true. So some people can remember some things, and it's not as simple as one particular box. KF we can look at. Found KF's STM for digits was very poor when read aloud, but was much better when they read themselves. Suggests the STM store for non-verbal sounds. So this study is saying that there must be some separate way in short-term memory to deal with verbal and non-verbal, whereas in the multi-store model it's just one box and there's no differences. There must be more than one short-term memory store different types of visual and auditory information. And at this point you can write the working memory model. Basically we're going to look at next week another model which actually does do that and separates out those different types of information. I think we mentioned briefly in the lesson that there were different types of or ways in which information can move to the long-term memory. So if you look at your simple multi-store model, it's just got one way, rehearsal or elaborative rehearsal, and it just keeps going around. MSM suggests the more you rehearse, the more likely you are to transfer it to your long-term memory. So the more times you go around, eventually it will go through. Crack and Watson's 1973 suggests there are two types of rehearsal. Maintenance rehearsal is described in a multi-store model. Elaborative rehearsal is needed for long-term memory storage. This is when you link the information to your existing knowledge or thinking about what it means. Very serious limitation, as this is another research finding that the multi-store model cannot explain. So it's basically saying that this idea of rehearsal is too simple in the multi-store model, and it needs to be more elaborate, it needs to be more detailed, there needs to be more things to this model. Again, there's research to suggest that long-term memory is not just one single box either, like STM. We'll come into our lesson and we'll look at be 2 or 3 weeks away now, but we will look at there are different types of long-term memory and you'll learn about them. But this model says there's only one type, there's one box, and it's very simple. We form memories every day about faces, names, facts and places, etc. A lot of research supporting the multi-store model did not use any of these important aspects of life. Therefore, this model lacks ecological validity. If you get a basic understanding of ecological validity, that if something lacks ecological validity, it's saying that it's not like real life, is basically what its point. So we're saying here that all of the studies have used word lists or digit spans and things that we don't actually have to do. Actually, what the things we have to remember in real life are faces, names, facts, places, how they all intertwine. And this model doesn't use any of those in its research. Therefore, it lacks ecological validity. And there we are, next, long-term memory. Latest.